Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Anna from Astral Tarot, and I was considering doing the 13 tarot questions or 13 real tarot questions tag by Mary Grace, which is a really good tag. But I'm just too unfocused right now. I have too many things in daily life to focus on, so I am going in depth, but on this thing that I was planning to do anyway, in case you have seen last week's video. Filming these weekly videos, honestly, are a challenge for me to uphold every week, but as you can tell, hopefully, I do manage, and I don't know, somehow it's important for me to keep up this schedule for as long as possible. Also, I'm realizing that in the end, mostly what they are for me is just a really nice moment to just sit down and talk about something that I love, tarot. So I am not doing 13 real tarot questions. I'm doing tarot throwback instead. I love this tarot throwback because we're exploring another way of using the cards. And as I said, I'm pretty sure I have summertime nostalgia. I really do enjoy traveling back in time, even to times that I have not known. But that's really besides the point, because that's not what this so-called challenge or tag is. If you want to be caught up on what tarot throwback actually is, I am going to immediately refer you to this video that I made last year when Mixtress Ray from Mixtress Video came up with this tarot challenge. It did me so much good. I'm repeating it this year. So instead of using the hashtag tarot throwback and then 1998, that's still my year because that's basically the time period up until 98 that I am traveling back to. But now I'm using the hashtag Tarot Throwback 2023 because this could very well be a thing I do yearly. Yeah, it might be a yearly reoccurring challenge for me with tarot. Although, as I said, I don't really see it as much as a challenge. I see it much more as a ritual because it's a really in-depth thing. Right now, I'm already 3 weeks in. I've decided to just keep going until I'm fed up with it. Anyway, it's a time travel ritual in which we can astral travel to the past, our own pasts. This challenge really is about your own timeline, revisiting your own timeline. And that is just interesting stuff. You know what I mean? Inner child stuff has been coming up for me, yeah, at least a year. You know, there's this entity that has kept showing me inner child stuff. It's just really interesting. And I feel the need now to explore it in this way as well, using the tarot for a little bit of a, well, I wouldn't say it's softer. It can be really harsh still. But the revisiting your own timeline is very interesting because you can mentally put yourself back in this place where you were when you were 10 years old and feel like the kid you were at that place in that situation. Or, and that's an even bigger mindfuck, you can go back as the adult you are today and visit yourself as a child. Real inner child stuff, really. It's just about, for me, because you can do this challenge in any way you like, right? It started off as, I think, just using decks up until a certain year. And even that I changed right off the bat because I'm only using decks that I imagine I could have had or actually had as a 10-year-old kid or 10 to 15 years old. But for me, just revisiting my life as if it were a movie, if you look at it in that sense, I do feel that it's working. It's doing more than I thought it would do, honestly. I feel that it's healing. I feel that it's calming me down in these hectic times. I feel that it's soothing me, making this moment in life just a little easier, really, just a little nicer. What can I say? And to be honest, it's just a really nice thing to do for yourself. It feels like a gift. It feels, yeah, it feels like a gift that you can gift yourself. And it's not about just using the decks that you might have had, you know, I mean, again, approach this in any way you like, but the way that I'm doing it is really going back to that place, that mindset, that idea, revisiting the past, but hopefully in a healthy way. And then also, because I'm a 35-year-old lady, I am not only gifting myself this present of the past. Wow. Gift yourself the present of the past. That is so, I should be in advertising. What I do also is I gift myself more time offline, and therefore I gift myself this time communicating with the cards, writing things down. You know, I've started journaling again and loving it. And I'm remembering, and perhaps every so often, yeah, you could rewrite parts of your life that were unnecessarily hurtful. So far, I haven't done that yet. That might be taking it a little step too far because I don't want to get, even though I might never reread them, I don't want to get my journal things confused between what actually happened and what is fiction or, another universe, the Matrix. But you could use it for that, is all I'm saying, if you feel that that is what you need, right? This exercise, that's what it is, exercise, ritual, it brings peace and ease. It brings understanding. It brings closure even on things that you didn't realize were part of the problem or root, part of the root of problems you might still be experiencing now or struggles. It also slows you down, this stuff. I don't know about you, but I was a dreamy kid with an active imagination. And everything, life just felt slower back then. Also, about that thing that it slows you down, this is really hard, I think, for most tarot readers, whether you do it professionally for other people or just for yourself, for your own practice. Imagine looking at a card, imagine seeing the image and the archetype for the very first time. Now, that in my book is some powerful stuff because it's not about, oh, I never saw this detail in the card. I mean, yeah, it can be part of it, but mostly, how does it actually make you feel? What do you see in the card? What does this archetype mean to you in this mindset now? So often we want to be quick, and we're supposed to be quick also as a professional reader. People book you for a certain amount of time. At least that's how I like to work. I don't want to waste any time. I want to get straight into, the cards and the meanings and the helpful advice and the insights and all of that. But when it comes to reading for yourself, it still often happens. I pull this card, I look at the image quickly, and I see it's the devil. And then I start off, with this narrative that I might be repeating for myself. Whereas imagining, just putting yourself in that place as a kid or a teen, looking at these cards for the very first time, you're going to see different things. You're going to read it in a different way. It's very possible that you get closer to what the card actually means because you're not just regurgitating the same thing that you've been doing for years or that you picked out of a book and never actually really made sense. I mean, here this is not the reality of things. This is not how things are for me and for most of us, I'm sure. But I'm just saying that it can happen. It can happen that sometimes we rely so much on what we've learned or what someone has told us about the card, some teacher or other, or this epiphany we've had once about the card. And then since then we kept taking meaning out of that, but it's always the same thing. Whereas the tarot cards have so many layers and so many different aspects of it, different parts of it, different points of view. So here are my decks. It's nothing new. You've seen Tarot of a Moon Garden. I was already talking about it. This is my ultimate inner child deck, so really the best deck for me to do this exercise with. I did all my Patreon readings with these cards for the month of June. It was lovely. Then I also have, and that is honestly why I have 1998 as the year, one of my favorite decks, the Crow's Magic Tarot. There's no way I would have had this deck as a kid because I know I would have found it super ugly. But it's just so good. So good for me. And I'm really feeling this energy at the moment. Everything is all black and red and everything is very passionate. Yes. Then there's my Dutch Toth, which, by the way, in an older video, I was talking about adding some other keywords because honestly, Lord of Love, that's a title, esoteric title. But I was thinking about using the keywords of that other deck, Outgrow Yourself Oracle, which you can use as a Thoth-based tarot or as an oracle. Looks really cool, but upon closer inspection, I realized that the images might be cool and stuff, but the keywords really didn't do it for me, so I'm not going to add them to this Thoth deck or the Tantric Dakini. Why am I saying this? Because I added my own keywords last year here, due to Tarot Throwback, thinking that's absolutely something I would have done as a kid or a teen, not understanding the court cards fully, right? And trying to make sense of them. So instead of just seeing the Prince of Cups here, which is a gorgeous card and a beautiful energy, I have here waves and then generosity, which is an important part of this personality type. But all the other cards so far are left the way they were. But this deck, this is my, what's it called? Wreck This Journal. This is a Wreck This Thoth. This is a Wreck This Tarot deck for me. This is a whole special thing I've got going on with this deck. It's just lovely. These cards are honestly indestructible. I'm working with this on another level in the sense of really using the elements. I've held this deck under the pouring rain. I've set fire to a few of these cards, or at least the edges. I held it in incense smoke and threw it across the floor in the air. And then earlier this year, I buried it for a good 15 minutes. So all the elements, at least the 4, are in this deck, are imbibed in this deck. Those are the decks that I have today with me, and that actually I'm just using because I'm not using the Scopa cards. What is it? Carte Napoletane. I did pull them out. They are lovely. They're beautiful. They are a part of my childhood. That's the deck I used to pretend read tarot with because I thought they were tarot cards. They looked really magical to me, but I still don't know how to read them, and I think I just have them as a part of my cabinet of curiosities. So you know what? If you feel like joining in on this ritual or exercise, however you like to see it, you can do it for a week or 2, 3 weeks, up to a month, or I mean, of course, even longer if you feel like it. If you feel like you need it, if you feel the motivation is still there and you still get something really good out of it. I really want you to grab your Throwback or Inner Child deck, or decks if you have more, and I want you to feel it. Flip through it, smell it, and look at the cards as if you were seeing them for the very first time. Or even better, not just as if you were looking at them for the first time, as if this is a new deck. That's not what I mean. I mean looking at them as if you have no other comparison. And this is the type of stuff that gets me super excited because at this moment, I can't really put it into words fully, but just imagine that, having no prior tarot experience, looking at your Inner Child deck or Tarot Throwback deck or your very first deck as if you've never seen these cards before, as if you've never seen tarot before, as if you don't know what the cards mean. I have 6 of coins here. Just looking at the image, it can mean so many different things. And still, I'm convinced you will get to the original deep esoteric or whatever, however you read the cards, meaning of the 6 of coins. Yeah, it gets me super excited because a child's view on the world is much more open because it simply has less preconceived notions. And they don't really know, at that young of age, what they personally like yet, what their tastes are, what their likes and dislikes are. Actually, therefore, I believe they tend to like more things because when you're open to something, because you have no previous reference, you tend to like more things. Imagine you have no idea what a Queen of Swords looks like and what it means, and this is the first Queen of Swords that you ever see. Now, how does it make you feel? And what do you see? Last little update regarding this tarot throwback thing. I feel it's affecting much more than just my tarot practice. I'm really not trying to compartmentalize all that much. After all, I am doing tarot readings about daily life and also inner child, and then the inner child stuff comes back in daily life. And it's this whole circle of energy. It's very Six of Coins, really. Interaction of energy. One thing influences the other one. It's also very Tree of Life with the emanations and all of that. So I've noticed that this month I've desperately needed to do protection work, which is, of course, a staple, something you do almost every day in a sense. But it's funny because these synchronicities or, mirroring are really sticking out to me at the moment. I'm trying to get that safety back when you were a kid, the safety of imagination land by using primarily Tarot of a Moon Garden. And then I find myself wanting to be more in my own cocoon and not being grounded at all, actually. I'm floating as I was when I was a child. I was not on Earth. I was somewhere else. Watch Lennon's video on Come Back to Earth, Lennon, no thank you. Well, that was me. And I also had a tree, by the way. How cool is that? And we are the same age and we have the same inner child deck. A lot of similarities there. And I've been wanting to move a little bit away from all this online stuff and just really do my own thing. This is what I'm doing. So protection from all of this information and energy, draining stuff that comes off of the internet. We're always glued to a screen, it seems. That's unhealthy. And then also home protection. My patrons will know what happened, and it's not a big deal, but it was a clear sign it's time to refresh that intention. And the funny thing is, my protective symbol for the home and then myself, because you can see your body as your home as well, is a square, like the foundation of a home. Makes sense, right? The square, a house, a home, the protection, the safety. And what do you know? I went to an early market on Sunday or on Saturday. I was there to buy some new jewelry because it's been a while since I updated my ring collection. And actually, I was just going to buy one ring, but then I found some really cool semi-precious stones, crystals with their properties and mounted in actual silver, which is what I like to wear, for a really good price. So I was able to buy 2 items for the budget I had in mind for that just one ring. I realized only when I came home that both of those items are the exact same shape. They're both square, and not just square like you're looking at here in the screen, but square tilted with north, south, east, and west. So it's what I'm wearing here. This is a pyrite, and it's funny because it's kind of it's broken off, but I love this. And I have the same in chalcedony or whatever it's called in a tiny silver ring. So you see, when you do this specific work with the cards, you start to see this very important and powerful red thread in your life, not just in your journal, on the paper, or in the cards on your table, but actually in daily life. And I think that's really a good thing because it gives just regular old everyday life more meaning. Now, this is not just a really cool, in my opinion, pyrite necklace or pendant. It's actually connected to inner child work, to feeling safe, to the home protection. Why not? And then pyrite, fool's gold, that's always Thin Lizzy, and then feeling rich, even though you might not be rich. But then the Fool in the tarot, we know is actually the hero, and we're aspiring to be that, to be the Fool. So here, really, it just adds the meaning. You know what I mean? It adds to what you bring into your life, and also it emphasizes what you clearly do not bring into your life, what you deliberately or consciously do not bring into your life. I think that's a very important part of tarot throwback or inner child work, really approached in this way, because you realize so much what it is you need, that therefore you also make very deliberate choices on things that you realize really you do not need and are actually weighing you down. One of the things I've done, and maybe I'll talk about this more in depth on Patreon, I have a feeling, we'll see, is I really like to go out, have drinks with friends. That's just part of that whole thing. And this is the first time in my life since really I started having a drink here and there that I consciously stopped drinking for a while. And it just so happens I am also 3 weeks in on this experiment to just go out and only have sodas or alcohol-free beer. And honestly, not getting a little tipsy is also giving me a lot of fun, and it makes sense to do that alongside the inner child work. Now, I'm not recommending this in any way, but honestly, it was just something I clearly needed. The universe showed me that really clearly. And again, with this, it's funny, my expectations were that I was going to be really grounded and really present and really here. That's not what happens. I'm again with this. It's maybe even making the energy stronger that I am not grounded. I'm not here on earth. I'm floating in space, man. My head is in the clouds. But that's a good thing because that's who I am. I don't want to make this video too long, so that's all I'm going to say about that. It's just, for me at the moment, part of this ritual. No alcohol, journaling, reading the cards with just these decks. Oh yeah, and then also have Rider-Waite-Smith Blue Box, although so far, 3 weeks in, I only used it once. But I got some really big cards from that. Only majors. I remember Full, Chariot, Devil. Still pretty significant. Then the whole protection aspect that needed to happen at this moment, and finding a little bit of peace and calm and quiet and slowing things down. I know I sound my age. It's really working and doing a lot of good. And it all makes sense together as a whole. There's red threads all over for me. So I hope you find this interesting, maybe just to hear about it, to try it out one of these days, or try it out now together with me. Maybe this is the time for you to do it as well. I don't know what it is with summer. Probably summer holiday we used to have as kids, right? It's either the really good happy memories or the super boring ones. But it's nice to have this kind of a deep dive, and I honestly believe this, using the cards in a different way or in a new way. Because we can read about our present situation, or the future, however you read, all we want. But sometimes we need to go back. We need to look back and make sense of these things. And for this, I also recommend this matrushka method. I don't think that's how she described it, but Natalia from Tarot Shrink talked about this in a video she deleted. Maybe she talked about it in a new one, I don't know. I haven't been keeping up. But I remembered this from her, and it works really well with this challenge where you pull your cards for the day, right? Or about a certain topic that came up regarding your childhood, maybe. Journaling about it, and then maybe the last 3 sentences, something new pops up. Maybe you're left with a question about, well, what about this thing? That kept happening for me. But you don't know the answer, right? And you're kind of done, your page is full. So you put down the pen, close the journal, and start from that question the next day. And then you can see if you pulled repeat cards and what those repeated cards mean now in this situation. That's a good way to, deepen your tarot knowledge for sure. But also it just allows you to start from already a step into the process instead of starting at zero every day. Oh, what's this day gonna bring me? What can I focus on today? No, it's about what can you do to answer this question that came up yesterday about this important matter? How is it influencing this question? And then you get your answer and another question pops up, and that's how you keep going. So it really unfolds. You are really going down the stairs of the subconscious. It's going down almost literally. That was my Tarot Throwback video, Tarot Throwback 2023. It's doing some really good things for my practice and for my overall well-being. We could very well keep seeing this popping up in 2024, 2025, etc. We'll see, of course. I'm not going to promise anything, but it's just, I know that this is in my toolbox. It's just one of those things that I realize really is working, and I wanted to share it with you. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Don't leave yet, because I have a video in mind that you might like as well if you liked this one. And I think that's it for this week. So thanks so much. Let me know if you're participating in the challenge or exercise ritual, however you approach it. Enjoy your tarot practice that is just for you. Enjoy journaling, enjoy scribbling some things down that just come up for you. It really feels nice when these random things all of a sudden start to make sense. I'll see you all next week. Bye.